The New York session on a Tuesday is going to be volatile, though without the big market moves. InstaForex analysts are ready to unveil market catalysts today. As expected, Wall Street opened cautiously on a Monday. Investors were riveted to the events in China and the highly probable recession in the global economy. The coronavirus resurgence makes investors assess economic outlook and to revise their portfolios. The markets are alarmed by the cost of the pandemic in China and downbeat news in the corporate sector. As a result, the Dow Jones slipped 0.13% yesterday. The Nasdaq sank 1.09%. The S&P shed 0.39% to close at 3,949 points. The benchmark indexes traded sluggishly in the New York pre-market. The three indexes locked minor gains, though remained under pressure. The S&P500 is expected to trade in the intraday corridor between 3,980 and 3,990 points. The market sentiment is dampened by fears that China might reimpose strict anti-COVID measures. On a Monday, Beijing announced that schools and factories are shut in the districts with the most virus cases. Besides, the rules for entering the capital city are tightened. Apart from a recession fears, market sentiment on Wall Street is hurt by a rapid fall in oil prices. Crude oil tumbled by more than 5% on Monday after the report that Saudi Arabia and other major oil exporters are discussing oil output expansion. In the light of the news, the energy companies included in the S&P 500 plunged by almost 3% to the lowest level in the last 4 weeks. Previously, the energy sector was the only one which had surged by 63% this year. Investors got to know mixed corporate reports. Disney shares climbed 9% amid the news on the replacement of the CEO. Investors welcomed the news. Another piece of news on the contrary spoiled market sentiment. Tesla shares sank 6.8% after the manufacturer stated that it would revoke e-cars in the United States due to the fault in the tail light. In this context, Elon Musk, who owns nearly 15% of Tesla shares, lost roughly $6.8 billion on a single day on Monday. According to Bloomberg, his wealth shrank almost $100 billion. And today, the storm in the oil market has calmed down. Oil prices perked up. The US stock indexes went up. Tesla shares are trading in the green, and the stocks of companies with a mega capitalization such as Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and Meta traded slightly higher in the pre-market. Stock investors have found a fragile hope for optimism. Yesterday, Loretta Mester said that the US Fed might moderate the pace of rate hikes starting from next month. The Fed has to revise its agenda to strike a balance struggling against inflation and sustaining economic growth. The market is anticipating the minutes of the Fed's last policy meeting, which are due on Wednesday. Investors will scrutinize the minutes in the light of mixed comments from Fed policymakers. Wall Street is affected by the gloomy economic forecasts. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development predicts a slowdown in the global economic growth to 2.2% next year from a 3.1% in 2022. This trading week will be shorter than usual in the United States. Thus, Wall Street is trading sluggishly ahead of a Thanksgiving Day and a Thursday. The US dollar also reversed its trajectory on a Tuesday. Its index jumped 1% because of the COVID resurgence in China boosted demand for safe haven assets. As fears are ebbing away, the index shed 0.4% to trade at 107.40. The outlook for the US dollar is also gloomy. It's likely to trade in the intraday corridor between 106.90 and 107.80. In anticipation of the Fed's minutes, investors are digesting remarks from Fed policymakers. Meanwhile, the USD CAD pair is trading in favor of the Canadian currency. The pair dipped 0.38% intraday to trade at 1.3405. The intraday corridor for the pair is seen between 1.3350 and 1.3420. The storm in the oil market triggered gyrations in the USD CAD pair. Today, the loonie has won back some of its losses amid a recovery in the oil market and the decline in the US dollar. Brent crude futures climbed 1.7% to $89.99 a barrel, following a 6% slide yesterday. WTI futures rose 1.8% to trade at $81.50 a barrel. As for the economic calendar, the red-hot retail sales prove steady consumer sentiment. Retail sales in Canada dropped 0.5% in September from a month ago, in line with their expectations, following a 0.4% increase in August. In annual terms, retail sales grew 6.9% in September, and downtick from a 7% increase in the previous months. Notably, according to the flash estimates, retail sales could have rebounded by 1.5% on a month in October. Speaking about the crypto market, Bitcoin plunged to 15,581 on a Monday, the weakest level in 2 years. And today, the token is licking its wounds, trying to regain its footing, and the flagship crypto gained 2.4% today to trade at 16,000. Altcoins are trading mixed. Ethereum, Solana, Ripple, and Litecoin are trading in the wide range between dips and gains from a minus 3.7% to 12.3%. The crypto market is bruised by investigations, lawsuits, and mutual changes. Crypto lender Genesis said on Monday that it does not intend to declare its bankruptcy a few days later after FTX forced the firm to suspend a part of its businesses. Another worrisome factor is a growing number of lawsuits against the sponsors and advertisers of FTX, which hurts the reputation of many celebrities, sports teams, and the corporate advertisers dealing with the crypto. The parents of Sam Bankman-Fried purchases at least 19 items of a property on the Bahamas worth almost $121 billion in the last 2 years. And this flood of news is exerting pressure on Bitcoin. Though the token is gaining ground on Tuesday, its future looks obscure. The asset is expected to test the low of $15,000. Under the optimistic scenario, the token might rise to 16,800. InstaForex team wishes you gainful trades. Keep close tabs on the global financial markets on InstaForex TV channel, and see you online tomorrow.